Microphone here, UBC.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. And again, we thank you, members of the press, for always responding to our call promptly. We don't take that for granted, ladies and gentlemen. As we speak, right now, abductions are going on. We receive reports of our comrades that are being abducted while we continue to search for those. Some have been found gravely tortured, others have showed up dead, while others have been charged illegally in court martials and released. We are not giving up. We continue to condemn such acts, and we call upon the people of Uganda not to relent in their demand, because we know that those that have been released, it has been because of the non-stop demand for their unconditional release. Our comrades, Nubian Lee and many others, continue to be illegally incarcerated in Chitalia. I want to update the nation that we filed challenging their unconstitutional trial in the court martial because they are civilians. And tomorrow there's going to be a hearing the same. But again, we also want to inform you that we have also filed for their bail in the High Court of Uganda. We hope that the courts will deliver justice in that matter. In the same breath, ladies and gentlemen, I want to sympathize with the journalists that were recently brutalized by the military while we were delivering a petition at the United Nations Human Rights Office here in Kololo. We condemn that, but again we continue to condemn the lies, the deliberate lies and twisting of facts by the spokespersons of the police and the military. I saw the spokesperson of the military desperately trying to deny the facts that were covered on camera. For example, a fact like one Napoleon Namanya was commanding those people that beat up journalists, and indeed he personally beat up our member of parliament elect for matching the Honorable Nyako Derrick, and he also beat John Cliff Wamala, at least he himself. But as usual, here in Uganda, there are those that have license to commit crimes because they know that they have scapegoats. We saw the people that were paraded for trial, and it was laughable. Ladies and gentlemen, we invited you here today to inform you about our decision on election petition number 1 2021, where I am challenging the purported victory of General Museveni. I want to remind you that we were skeptical about going to court. There were two schools of thought. One held the firm belief that going to the courts, to the Supreme Court to challenge the Museveni election was a waste of time because these were cadre judges. The institution of the judiciary had been reduced to a mere mockery. But again, there was also another school of thought which we agreed with, that much as the judiciary has been reduced to a mockery, it's an institution that we believe in, while we might not believe in the people that are pretending over it. And yes, we went, like I told you, we went to the Supreme Court to get two things: either to get justice or to have opportunity to expose the judiciary. But as you all have been following, even before we could expose the judiciary decided to expose itself. The world has been watching the biased tendencies. You have seen the bias and double standards that have been exposed by the judiciary, but in particular the Supreme Court. You all remember that we were blocked from filing our election petition on a Saturday. But when the NRM lawyers went to the Supreme Court, they were actually allowed to file a response to our petition on a Saturday. That is double standard number one. Just a few days after we had filed our petition, you all saw, we watched in shock as the Chief Justice invited the respondent, General Museveni, to a lawyers meeting. But not only did he invite him, but you all watched the statements that the Chief Justice made before General Museveni. The Chief Justice was asking for some favors and was asking General Museveni to do some things in the capacity of president a year from now, thereby deliberately declaring that he had a predetermined mind, thereby communicating to the nation that according to him, Museveni would be president next year, even when he had a petition before him. We had observed and indeed raised our voices on the uncomfortable closeness of the Chief Justice with General Museveni. And not only the Chief Justice, but various justices in the Supreme Court. You are aware that since we petitioned the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice has met President Museveni three times. Now this is an arbiter in a matter who is meeting one party, who is meeting a defendant three times before they adjudicate this matter. We think that is wrong. We condemned it and we continue to condemn it. I've already mentioned about the statements that Justice Oweny-Doro made before General Museveni. And indeed, he went ahead in one of those meetings to present a budget to the defendant. Now here is a situation where the judge in a matter where Museveni is a defendant is actually asking for money from Museveni. We think that is not only immoral, but that is wrong. Now, following that, you all remember, ladies and gentlemen, that I was put under illegal house arrest for 11 days after the election. And yet, according to our laws, an aggrieved party is supposed to file a petition within 15 days. Now, out of those 15 days, I was under house arrest for 11 days. It took the order from the High Court of Uganda for me to be able to leave my home, thereby start working on that petition. Good enough, we were able to work around the clock, and within 4 days, we had filed a petition. But again, our law provides for amending the petition because we decided that we had to present more grounds, more powerful grounds to the Supreme Court. It shocked us, like it shocked so many people in the world, that the Supreme Court rejected the amendment to our petition. I must remind you, ladies and gentlemen, that in the just recent presidential election petition of Amama Mbabazi versus Museveni, an amendment to the presidential election petition was accepted. So it was clearly discriminatory of the Supreme Court to reject an amendment to our petition. Yet an amendment was accepted in the recent presidential election petition. As if that was not enough, ladies and gentlemen, our lawyers put it to the Supreme Court. They explained to the Supreme Court that we were unable to put all our grounds together because time was not enough, having noted that the military and police took away 11 days from our time. The Supreme Court, with a clearly biased attitude, rejected our amendment. Now, a matter before court is determined according to evidence. Because a matter is determined according to evidence, we made every effort to collect as much evidence as possible. Even amid this difficulty, you are all aware that many of our election observers as National Unity Platform, many of our polling agents were arrested and others were and continue to be on the run. Many of them are in prison. Many of them have been abducted by the police and the military, and we don't know where they are. And yes, very many of them are on the run. So amidst those challenges, we were still able to put together that evidence, well knowing that in the past presidential election petitions, for example, one of 2001 and one of 2006, of Dr. Kizza Besigye versus Museveni, evidence was continuously admitted in the court all through the hearing. But guess what? When we took our evidence to the Supreme Court, even before the hearing, the Supreme Court, in an unprecedented manner, rejected our evidence. We are convinced that the Supreme Court has a predetermined mind. They want to rule that we lost this petition because we did not adduce enough evidence. But here is the Supreme Court rejecting evidence. And among the evidence that was rejected was an affidavit by our Secretary General, was an affidavit by a comrade called Kalumbi Serumaga of a video which was putting everything clear to the Supreme Court. Videos of the military ballot stuffing, videos of pre-ticked ballots being ticked by the police and the military, videos of places, especially in Western Uganda, where voting did not take place at all, videos of contradicting declaration forms. All that was rejected. Among the evidence that was rejected were declaration forms from places like Chiruhura, where there was a claim that 100% of the people, including the dead and those that had shifted from those areas, were actually available on the day of election. But most interestingly, there is a place called Rwaweba in Gomba. Now Rwaweba is in Buyanja. My father, the late J.W. Sentamo, has a farm there, and we have a family there. And in Rwaweba is where more than 7 of our family members were registered to vote from. Now those 7 did not vote because some had been arrested, others had fled because they were wanted, and some were 2 women who were very, very pregnant and did not show up to the polling station. However, interestingly, at the Rwaweba polling station, the voter turnout was 100%. Now, because that evidence was too strong and it would make it impossible for the Supreme Court, for Chief Justice Owini Dolo and these people to twist the case, they uncharacteristically rejected that evidence. Up to now, we don't understand why they rejected that evidence. We brought that evidence. At first, it was rejected by the registrar, but because we know that it was within the law for us to bring evidence, and there was precedence to that, because Dr. Kizza Besigye had brought in evidence way through the hearing. Our evidence was rejected, and they did not give any substantial reason. So, ladies and gentlemen, well knowing that even while we were petitioning, this office continued to be under lock and key. courtesy of Uganda Police and the military. Even when we petitioned the High Court of Uganda to order the military and police to leave this our office, like it had ordered them to leave my home, so that we could pick evidence from this our office, the High Court did not assist us. Up to now, they've not ruled on that matter. The pieces of evidence that were rejected were way beyond 200, which is very, very clear that the judiciary, the Supreme Court, is not intending to give us justice in this matter. Now, one very disturbing thing is that in the 2016 presidential election petition for Wamama Mbabazi versus Museveni, even when by then the days of hearing and determining the case were 30 days, they were given over a week of submissions. But guess what? The Supreme Court said we could only submit in this our petition for 30 minutes. Only 30 minutes. I want you to imagine us being able to make our case, to bring all these details together in only 30 minutes. Now that was clear. One, the Supreme Court did not want this matter to attract so much attention. Because this is a matter of very high public interest, they did not want the public to pay so much attention. They did not want to expose themselves. But unfortunately, they ended up exposing themselves even much more there. So, for that matter, ladies and gentlemen, for the reasons that we've given above, we have decided to withdraw from their court. It is clear that Mr. Alfonso Owiny-Dollo and the members of his court are not interested in giving Ugandans justice. No, they are not. I want to read you a small quote in a book written by Yoweri Museveni and his friends after the 1980 elections. Now this is Museveni writing. He said, in a fascist regime, the judiciary is only a manipulated tool for dictators to carry out their despotic will. The judicial service only serves the purpose of giving the fascist regime a technical semblance of legality in its operations. The weakest and most compromised men are appointed to key positions in the judiciary in the judicial service because of their willingness to bend the laws according to the desires of the dictatorial regime. Any man of integrity and professional standing, you can put in brackets Kanyehamba, found on the bench are harassed, humiliated, and summarily dismissed or demoted, and their amenities withdrawn to break their firmness and force them to submit to the dictates of the regime. Meanwhile, Obote continued packing the bench with his sycophants and relations. He has, for instance, reappointed one Oteng to the bench in spite of the fact that he had been discontinued by the Judicial Service Commission for incompetence, unfitness, and general misconduct. An attempt was made to kill Mr. Justice Frank Sekandi. Prominent members of the legal profession have been either killed, detained, or generally harassed. The Uganda Law Society has been completely silenced. These are writings from a book called Mission to Freedom, written between 1981 and 1985. Ladies and gentlemen, if I did not mention the year 1981 and 1985, you would think that book was written yesterday in this particular time. That is how much our judiciary has been reduced to a mockery. We are withdrawing from the Supreme Court because the courts have failed to show that they are independent. The courts are not independent. it is clear that these people are working for Mr. Museveni, and we refuse to be part of that mockery justice. We have told you before and we tell you again that we are going to take this matter to the court of the people. We have told you before and we are telling you again that the people of Uganda are going to have the final say in matters concerning their destiny. We want to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that this is not the first time this is happening. After what Obote did with the 1980 election, Mr. Museveni went to the Supreme Court. But he went to the court, but he had to abandon that case because the judiciary was just as it is today. So Museveni seems to have been a very good student of Obote. Unfortunately, this is going to be to his detriment. To differ from Museveni, we are not violent people. We are withdrawing from the court, but we are not opting for violence. We are going to the court of public opinion, we are going to the court of the people of Uganda, and we shall be informing the people of Uganda our next steps. We have therefore instructed our lawyers to withdraw the case from Mr. Owiny-Dollo's court, because it seems like that is not a court to give Ugandans justice. I thank you, ladies.